Have you ever wondered about your own snap judgments? You know those split-second decisions and assumptions you make every single day? We're about to dive into the hidden logic behind them. It turns out these mental shortcuts aren't just random bugs in our system. They're actually a core feature of how we think. Let's get into it.
So let's start with a question that might feel a little edgy. What if the basic wiring behind stereotyping wasn't just some social flaw, but a type of computational logic? One designed for pure, raw efficiency. It's a provocative idea for sure, but it's absolutely central to understanding how our minds really work.
And this idea comes from a pretty surprising place, a 1997 paper on artificial intelligence. A computer scientist named Daniel Leeman was trying to figure out how to build a machine that could think like a person. And what he realized was that our everyday common sense is nothing like slow, careful math. No, it's bold, it's adventurous, and it takes shortcuts. To really get our heads around this, we have to look at stereotypes from a totally different angle, a purely computational one. So for the next few minutes, let's just set aside the heavy, negative social meaning of that word. We're not talking about people here. We're talking about a process, a way of handling information.
In his paper, Leeman gives this process a formal name: stereotypical reasoning. So what is it? It's what your brain does when you don't have all the facts. To fill in the gaps, it just assumes the situation you're facing has all the typical properties of that kind of situation. It's basically a super powerful tool for making educated guesses on the fly.
And here is where things get really interesting. In this AI model, this whole process isn't seen as a bug or a flaw at all. Actually, Leeman argues it's a fundamental tool for intelligence. It's how any thinking system, whether it's us or a machine, can navigate a ridiculously complex world without getting completely paralyzed.
Let's make this real with a simple example from the paper. Imagine a friend says, "I saw a tiger in the jungle." Your brain instantly paints a picture, right? It's probably large, yellow with black stripes, and definitely frightening. You don't automatically assume it was a tiny albino cub or maybe a dead tiger. Why? Because your brain grabs the stereotype for tiger. And that mental shortcut makes communication incredibly efficient. Your friend doesn't have to describe the whole thing. Your brain already did the heavy lifting.
So you can really break this whole model down into 3 simple steps. First, you gather the facts you have. Benjamin saw a tiger. Second, your brain zips through its files and picks the best matching stereotype, the tiger file. And third, you use that stereotype to draw a conclusion, filling in all those missing details about its size, its color, its vibe. Simple as that.
Okay, now what's absolutely fascinating is that this abstract model from AI perfectly maps onto something psychologists have found deep inside our own brains. It turns out we all operate with 2 completely different modes of thinking.
This is called dual process theory, and it's a really big deal in modern psychology. The basic idea is that our mind has 2 different operating systems, almost like 2 gears, and each one is designed for a very different kind of job. One's fast and one's slow.
We call them System 1 and System 2. System 1 is your fast, automatic, gut feeling kind of thinking. It loves to use those mental shortcuts, which psychologists call heuristics.
Sound familiar?
Yep, this is the biological version of Leeman's stereotypical reasoning. Then you've got System 2. It's the total opposite: slow, deliberate, and analytical. This is your deep thinking mode, the mathematical reasoning Leeman was talking about.
Just think of System 1 as your brain's autopilot. It's handling the thousands of little, effortless judgments you make all day long, from recognizing a song on the radio to swerving out of the way of a pothole. Its whole purpose is efficiency, to save up that precious mental energy for when you really need to kick System 2 into gear.
So the key thing to remember is that System 1 is always on, constantly using these shortcuts or cognitive biases to make sense of the world. Let's look at a few of the most common ones you're probably using without even realizing it. All right, first up is the anchoring bias. This is our brain's weird tendency to get completely hooked on the very first piece of information it hears. That first number or fact becomes an anchor that drags all of our other judgments down with it, even if that anchor is totally random. You see this play out all the time in negotiations. The person who says a number first, whether you're buying a car or talking about salary, they set the anchor. From that moment on, every single offer is judged based on that starting point. It's a perfect example of System 1 just grabbing the easiest piece of info to make a quick call. Next, we've got the availability heuristic. With this little shortcut, your brain figures out how likely something is by asking one simple question: how easily can I think of an example? If something pops into your head right away, you just assume it must be pretty common.
This is exactly why so many of us have a completely outsized fear of things like shark attacks. I mean, statistically, they are incredibly rare, but the news stories are so vivid and dramatic that the example is highly available in our memory. Our brain makes a simple mistake. It confuses ease of recall with high probability.
And then, oh boy, there's one of the most powerful biases of them all, confirmation bias. This is our brain's tendency to basically act like a defense attorney for our existing beliefs. It goes out and actively looks for evidence that proves we're right, while conveniently ignoring anything that suggests we might be wrong.
I mean, just think about how you browse the internet. We are all so much more likely to click on a headline that we already agree with. It feels good, it's comforting. And System 1 absolutely loves it because it saves us from the hard, uncomfortable work of actually questioning our own worldview.
Now, these shortcuts are obviously efficient, but, and this is a huge but, they come with a very serious downside. This is the point where the clean, computational idea of stereotypical reasoning smacks right into the messy, complicated reality of social stereotypes and their consequences.
So it's really important to be clear on our terms here. A stereotype is a belief. It's that cognitive shortcut. Prejudice is a feeling. It's a negative emotional reaction. And discrimination is a behavior. It's an action you take. They often follow each other down that exact path, from a simple thought to a feeling to a harmful action.
You see, that same mental machinery that helps us quickly identify a tiger can be misapplied to people, with dangerous results. There's a bias called the outgroup homogeneity effect, which basically makes us see people in groups we don't belong to as being all the same. It's a classic System 1 shortcut that can lay a really dangerous foundation for prejudice.
So, what do we do about all this? Are we just slaves to our brain's autopilot? Well, the good news is, no, we're not. By understanding how these systems work, we can actually learn when to take back manual control and become much more thoughtful, deliberate thinkers.
So here are 4 powerful strategies to take back the wheel. First, intentionally engage System 2. When a decision really matters, just slow down. Question that gut reaction. Second, actively seek out different perspectives to fight your own confirmation bias. Third, promote positive interactions with people from different groups to help break down those automatic stereotypes. And finally, just increase your awareness. Seriously, just knowing that these biases exist is the single most important first step to fighting back against them.
So, I'll just leave you with this question. Our brains are always going to try to take the easy path if we let them. The real challenge isn't to stop having these automatic thoughts. That's probably impossible. The challenge is to choose which ones we actually listen to. So, which of your automatic judgments will you decide to challenge today?